All right. We getting it started up in here. Oh, we good. We good. It say we live. What's mother fluffin' G? What it do, baby? We live. But what's G, everybody? It is your favorite. And I say it. I tell y'all I'm your favorite. You ain't gotta tell me because I gotta be confident for myself. But it's your favorite live streaming podcasting dude, aka out here, Mr. King Vic. You may also know me as King J. But welcome back to the Just My Thoughts Live. I've been doing this. It'll be a week come Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. It'll be a week that I've been trying to, just do a live stream. I ain't said I tried to do one every day because I took Friday off. Let me see. I took Friday off, Saturday and Sunday, and I did one yesterday. So I took 3 days off last week. Started this like Wednesday or Thursday last week. So I guess today, or I'm sorry, Wednesday or Thursday this week could be like almost a week of doing it. But what's good? How you living? How your mama? How your daddy? How your granny? How your pappy? Hopefully y'all living life good. Um, Having a good day today. I am. Give me 1 second. Let me get this. I want to do something real fast. I'm gonna cut that off. Okay. So I'm here bringing y'all to Just My Thoughts Live. Doing my little podcast, but trying to do it here on YouTube. And I actually wrote more notes down for this live stream than I did for any of the previous three that I've done. I have done three live streams in total, so be sure y'all go check those out. Um, you know, I got it in my own little playlist on my page, so be sure you check that out. Um, so anywho, I made a list today, but I only put two things down. So it really wasn't like I had a lot on my mind. And obviously I titled this one, fucking being a father or a parent or being a parent, I believe is what I titled it. But when I wrote it down in my little notes, I put being a father. Now here's the reason why today we gonna talk a little, or I'm gonna talk a little about, being a parent. And I got another subject I'm gonna talk about, and I think it'll be a little bit more interesting. But I definitely want to talk about being a parent first because that 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 one's an interesting one because I'm a step parent. I'm a stepfather. I have three kids. You know what I'm saying? Ages young 6, middle 7, oldest 8. You know what I'm saying? But or 6, 8, 11, because the middle child turning 8 in January, not right. So I love my kids. Would die for my kids. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of people be like, you a step parent. You know what I'm saying? And I'll let me make it like this. It's not and I'm an official step parent because we're not married, but we've been living together for longer than a year. So by common law, that's pretty much marriage. As I said in my last live stream, like if you've been in a relationship and y'all been living together for at, at least 1 to 2 years, you pretty much married in my eye. So my stepkids, I love them. I love being a father. I also hate it sometimes too because I lose a lot of my free time, at least in terms of, not that I don't got free time now. It's like two something I'm doing a live stream. Like, come on now. Obviously, I got free time, but I lose some of my free time with my partner, that I could have after work because we have to deal with our kids. So that's a real life thing. And it's not that that's a big deal because I'm around him every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here. So I can't even say that that's a big deal. It's just one of those things where sometimes when you want it to involve your partner not working and doing something when they're not working and y'all just having a good time, most times it can only be either after work or on the weekends when our kids are with their mom. And when money tight. So you just gotta make do with what you do. So I ain't really complaining about it, but I'm definitely saying that being a father and being a parent can be exhausting and hard. You know what I'm saying? Like this John ain't easy, and being a stay-at-home parent, because when I do school full time, that's completely different than me working. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm doing school full fucking time and I'm doing these psychology classes and all that good jazz, bringing in that little bit of money, that's cool, especially with my kids, because my kids fucking love that shit. But in terms of just like getting up, me going to work and stuff like that, nah, I ain't doing that. So because I know I'm not doing that, being a stay-at-home parent has really changed my worldview about it. And I would say that being a father has changed my worldview about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I will say about being a parent that I know I knew about, and I we can say I understood, but it really came into play when I became a father. Um, Sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of sacrificing and a lot of compromising that goes into play when you have kids. You know, there's a lot of things that kids don't understand or don't see. And not to say you can't make them understand or make them see, but some things they shouldn't have to see or shouldn't have to worry about. You know what I'm saying? Like the finances. That's not to say, hey, don't tell your kids your finances. You know, if you want to put them, kind of help mature them a little faster by letting them know about your finances and everything like that. That's a you decision, but they don't have to know unless they have to absolutely know, depending on how they are as children. They don't have to know how broke you are. You know what I'm saying? If you're broke. And if you're rich, they don't have to know how rich you are. Obviously, if you live a rich lifestyle or you live a really broke lifestyle, they'll know, they'll grasp that concept. But if you're able to provide without them knowing, they don't have to know. You know what I'm saying? So those are different things that I've just learned in my young fatherhood, because I didn't become a step parent until almost 2 years ago now. And so for me, it's more of a, and I want to say it'll be 2 years officially come January. So for me, it's more of a, oh, this is what fatherhood looks like. You know what I'm saying? This is what being a stay-at-home parent looks like. You know what I'm saying? Cooking, cleaning. I'm not cooking. I don't cook. My partner cooks. I clean. I do a lot of the cleaning, and I do help out cook sometimes. But I'm not gonna sit in front and act like I cook every day, because it don't be like that. I may cook once or twice a week at most. That might be it. But I do all of the household things, so in order that my partner doesn't have to worry about it. You know, I make sure when the kids get home from school, most times when they get home from school, I'm talking to them. How was your day? Checking their homework, checking everything, making sure everything's good. So that part of fatherhood and being a parent, I can say I love it. You know what I'm saying? The part I don't like is the attitude and the questioning, or the certain expectations that I would say I know my kids have of me and of my partner as fathers, that I know I can't meet. And I won't even say can't meet, but I know I did not have of my mom or of my stepdad or even my dad growing up. So it's always interesting, at least in that aspect, those things that I don't like, I could see that. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting to me being a father and being in fatherhood, and kind of enjoying it. I'm not saying I don't enjoy it, because I love being a father. It's been very, very fulfilling how being a step parent can be. And that's not to say I didn't like working or I don't like working, because I've worked since I was 16. So I've had jobs, multiple jobs, but the last 6 months, almost to a year of not working has been very grateful. It's been good. I've gotten a lot of mental relief, a lot of stress that you don't know you build up from working. I've gotten that off, but that's one thing and one aspect in terms of being a stay-at-home parent that I can say I appreciate and enjoy more. It's not to say that I would not like to, have my partner experience that same thing where he can be the stay-at-home parent and I go work, and do all that good jazz. But I just understand that right now that's just not where the cards are. But when those cards do come into play, I plan on my partner taking advantage of it because I got to take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say being a parent and being a father, it's been very fulfilling for me because I always wanted kids. And in my past relationship, when we tried to have kids and then we had a miscarriage and then we had another miscarriage and then we ended that relationship, I talked about my divorce and everything. I would say I didn't want kids for a long period of time. I just couldn't deal with that mentality of, oh, I want kids. I want to be a father. I want to be a parent, even though I was always told, oh, you'll be a great father. You'll be a great parent, blah, 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 blah. So when I got into this relationship and decided to get in this relationship, I knew outright, hey, he got kids. If I enter this relationship, I have to enter it with the knowledge that I will be seen as a father if we go far in this relationship, which I already knew I planned on going far in the relationship anyway. So I was already accepting of the idea that, hey, I'm going to be a father. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was never a it was never a I'm terrified to be a father, but I was scared because I knew what I had in terms of my father, and I knew what I had in terms of my stepfather, and I knew what I wanted to be as a father and what I did not want to be. But you never know until you're put in the position to be a father because your kids will never be like you. You know what I'm saying? As much as my stepkids are not like me, there are certain things I see in them or I see that they do that I know I have done. I didn't contribute at all. They have none of my DNA. So when I see it, that's how I know, okay, these are human traits and stuff like that that different humans can have. And so I enjoy that, just as a person who enjoys the intricacies of human beings and how humans think and everything like that. So I enjoy that aspect, but it's the differences as well that always remind me, oh, these, yeah, they're not my DNA, but they're doing things that he wouldn't do, or they're doing things that their mom wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? So that really makes it easy to kind of do the whole they're different, they're different because they're just they're kids. They are not the same as our parents, or as their parents. I have similarities with my mom, just like I have similarities with my dad. And I remember growing up, my mom saying, "Oh, you just like your daddy," when I would do certain things. And I didn't like that, depending on what it was that I was doing. Because I didn't want to be like my father growing up. My dad was an a-hole to the max in my mind at my age. And being like him was not a good thing. Not that I didn't love my father. I love my father to this day. But a lot of it came from my father choosing not to be actively present and making choices where he was like, "Oh, well, you're a teenager boy now. If you want me, you got to call me, blah, blah, blah." And I'm not saying he's wrong for how he felt and how he thought, but it's like I tell everybody, when you're a child, and your father hasn't shown you that he's interested in you, will you continue to build those bad habits? So you have a child mentality. So when your father tells you something like, "Oh, if you love me, blah blah blah, you'll call blah blah blah." Well, I'm a child. So obviously, and no matter if I was 13 or 14, I was still a child. And so I still thought with a child mindset. And I believe that's where a lot of people go wrong, thinking that a child thinks like an adult. And don't get me wrong, their kids are smart and very intelligent, but not every kid is smart and very intelligent. And that's the reality. Not every kid has that common sense to pick up on things. There are sometimes I'll see my daughters and my son, mostly my daughters, they'll say or think or comment on something involving their mom, and I'll think to myself, gosh, when certain situations like this happen with me and my dad, I thought this, but they think completely different. Like, I took it as, for example, my dad not showing up all the time, not coming to get me during the week, not calling and asking about me and only seeing him some weekends. I didn't see him as often as they get to see their mom. I took that as in, oh, he really don't give a fuck about me. Because if he really gave a fuck about me, he would put out more. He would say, "Hey, I want to see you, on a Wednesday or a Thursday, whoop de whoop," or "Hey, let me get you every Saturday or every other Saturday," like stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I grew up in the church. So I also understand that because my mom had me and my brothers in church, that, you know, my dad would have to work around that schedule. My dad was also a barber. And so the most boring thing for me, oh, okay, go hang out with my dad, which means after school, go sit at his barber shop and sit and wait and let him cut hair. And then when he was done cutting hair, then I can go do something with him, maybe, or maybe go home, or maybe go watch TV and cartoons and stuff. And that, I mean, when I think back, when I think back to it now, it's more of a, I don't know if that was really setting me up for success to wanting to spend time with you. But hey, I mean, I can't say you didn't have to do your job because he had to work. He had to pay child support. It was a lot of things in my mom and his relationships that I wasn't privy to as the son. And I'm okay with not knowing that information. I've heard her side, I've heard his side, I've heard them both out. So I'm not mad at either one of them. They made the best choices that they thought were the best at that time. And I'm not mad at it. I believe growing up with a stepfather that I seen try a little harder with his my because my stepdad has two sons of his own. So when I seen that, it made it, oh, okay, so this might be what it looks like to be a father. You know what I'm saying? And my uncle, for a while, I looked up to how he was a little, because of how when he was married with my aunt and my younger cousins, until, I go to the military at 18, come to find out he been cheating on my aunt and married the new woman from I ain't gonna get into all of that. But it was very like, man, what does it mean to be a father? What does it mean to be a man? Like, that was what I was questioning, I would say, for a long time, at least, because I didn't just have great mentors. Like, yes, I had mentors and I appreciated them. Not saying I didn't appreciate them, didn't like them, but I didn't have great ones. Like, it's like the saying, you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain, right? So none of my mentors were great. So it wasn't like they were out here dying a hero where I'm like, oh man, you were so great as a man and blah 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 blah. I learned so many things from you that I'ma just take that and run with it. A lot of it was seeing them become the villain, because I'll use one of my older brothers, for example, seeing how he is and some of his ideals as a father make me say, "Oh, I'm glad that even though you're my brother, I don't think like you as a man, you know. Can he do better and be better? Yes. And will I tell him? Yeah, I tell him every day of the week. But it's also not my place to be like, okay, bro, like you fucking up, you ain't doing right. You need to do this, this, that, and the third, because he has to be willing and wanting to make that change. And if he's not willing to, and he's not wanting to, then it don't really fucking matter what I say. You know what I'm saying? So while I don't agree with everything he does as a father, I do think he's a pretty good father. He tries his best. And I think that's where a lot of it is missed by society, that some men don't know how to be fathers because they weren't given good examples. And there are some of us who were not given good examples, and we thrive as a father because of that. You know, I'm one of those. I am thriving as a father because I seen what was not present in my life from my father. And so I strive every day to make sure my kids get that. And I know my partner does the same. So I would say we're thriving. And that's not to say my partner didn't grow up with his father in the house, because he did, but his father wasn't as present as we are to our kids. And I think that's a very interesting and different dynamic for a lot of people who grow up without fathers, because some of them repeat the cycle. You know, I would say one of my favorite anime, Naruto. There was a comment on Twitter where the person was like, they can't believe how Naruto acts as a father in the manga Boruto. So I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to spoil that for anybody that hasn't seen it. But it goes back to my point that no matter how you're raised, you know, if you're raised with two parents, one parent, same sex parents, different gender, different sex parents, it doesn't matter. You know, n- whether you're an orphan, you know what I'm saying? We can even go that, or foster parents. It doesn't matter, you know, how you're raised in that sense. That if you aren't shown good examples of being a person and how a person should treat you or a child, then some people are just going to struggle. You know, as much as I love my father, could I say he struggled as a father and as a parent? Yeah. You know, I can admit his faults. I can admit my faults as a son, but at the end of the day, I always say I was his son. It's different when you're a child under 18 and you're a child 18 and older. You know, your expectations, depending on your child, depending on how you much you know your child, how much interest you show in your child, depends on A, what they're willing to tell you, but B, what they know. You know what I'm saying? Me and my mom talk once or twice a week, you know. I talk to her a lot. It does help that my mom has a kidney disease. So I use every time I talk to her as a means to just communicate. So I always remember our conversations. Because when she dies and she's gone, I'm gonna want these memories. I may not remember everything. I may not remember every conversation, but I'm gonna remember just our chit chat. But I won't remember that with my dad, because I remember us getting to a point where we did that. But when he find wow, wow, I can't speak English. So when he found out I was bisexual and was currently in relations with the man, that's when he decided, hey, I don't condone this, so I'm not going to talk to you. That's fine. He a grown man. He can make whatever choice he want to make. I'm never going to be upset at him for making that choice, in the sense of he doesn't want to talk to me. He just also has to understand, well, I'm not going to talk to you, because when you want to be a man and talk to me, I'll be here. But until then, I won't reach out and try to get you to talk to me, because there's no point. I know where you stand, and I'm here where I stand. I'm gonna be happy no matter what. And you either gonna be with me on the journey or you're not. And that's okay, because I can't live my life to please you. Because dude, you 50 now. You know what I'm saying? He 51, 52. He between 50 and 53. That's all I know. And I don't even know my dad's age. I just know he's younger than my mom, and my mom's 55. So, if you caught my last live stream, I was talking about age gap relationships. I always say that's where it come. It come from that DNA inside me. My grandfather liked the older women, and now he with a younger woman. My dad, my mom was older than my dad. Then there's me, and I've been with plenty of older women. So go check that out, y'all. Go check out that last live stream. But I say all that to be like, it's hard being a father. It's hard being a parent in general. I can only speak as a father because I am a father. I can't speak as a mother because I'll never identify as a woman, and that's just not the vibe I'm gonna ever give off because that's just not me. So I can only speak as a father and talk about what it's like being a father and stuff like that and all that good jazz. And I think that it's a precious thing that I love. You know, there are days I say, I need to go find me a woman. Tell her she gotta have my baby the natural way, where I do my thing, and then we do our thing, and then she end up pregnant, and then after those 9 months, she give me the baby, and then she sign over her rights and go. But then there are other times my youngest, the 6-year old, will do something, and I'll be like, "Whoo, no more kids." No more kids. And there are times I'm like, oh, I could just foster or adopt because I have younger siblings that were fosters and then my parents adopted them. So I can always do that. I ain't never just been like, I can't do that. It's just one of those situations where I'm like, is that what I want to do? Like, do I want to do that? Or do I want to, you know, just not have kids and focus on me and my partner's life once our kids are 18. Like I say all the time, when they 18, I don't give a fuck. And that doesn't mean I'm not saying I ain't gonna care if they go to college or not. Like I'm a care. But once they 18, we can be more selfish a little bit. Not to say we don't want to help them and we don't want to help them, whether it's school, work, or relationships or anything like that. We want to do that, but more so I could be selfish and focus a little bit more on me, use more of my money on me because you're an adult now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let them be 18 just living in the house for free. And I say living in the house for free, as in let's say they get a job and they make $1,000 every other 2 weeks. I will be like, okay, give us $300. What will we do with that $300? Most likely, as something we've already talked about, we put it to the side in the savings for them. Whether let's say they don't want to go to school right away, okay, we'll help them save some of their money. So then that way, when they decide to get their own apartment or their own house, we can give them that money back. And obviously it will be the same as now. They would have different chores to do in the house. And maybe it would be, hey, contribute to the groceries. But that's not free because I would say living anywhere for free is where you don't clean, you don't cook, you don't give them no monetary anything. All you do is show up and leave. And I've done that and I've been mad because I didn't have money to give. So when they would ask for money, it would upset me. But again, the only reason they upset me was because of the choices I fucking made. And if I would have made better fucking choices, it would have been wouldn't have been a deal. Wouldn't have been a deal at all.